And welcome back to the Marc Morris radio show. As I promised before we went on commercial break, I have a very special guest in the building. Round of applause. Now, before I introduce you to this young lady, she's very special. Very special. If you see me on Instagram and Snapchat, I've been promoting her. She's the very first guest in the history of the Marc Morris radio show. She's coming to you. Grew up in the DMV area, resides in Baltimore, Maryland currently. She's one of DSU's own alum. Very influential in helping me get involved in student activities such as SGA. She ran the campus. She had it lit. Her and her running mate Roger were like just this epic dynamic duo that everyone like to this day like just puts on like a pedestal as they deserve. And she's also the founder and editor-in-chief of her own magazine. For those of you listening, Mouth Magazine is a media outlet dedicated to the freedom of expression. The freedom to mouth off on current events and art forms that affect and help shape our communities and the world around us. We share opinions while being open to yours. So let's start the conversation with Danielle Jones. Please help welcome her to the show.
Finally, the right way.
Right.
Yes.
Right now.
Got her in the right way.
I appreciate it. Marcus, so proud of you.
Thank you, Danielle.
Doing your thing.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go.
So before we went to the commercial, you heard me. I was getting a little worked up because, you know, the Colin Kaepernick. I'm all behind him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm all for him, but I don't think we think things through in terms of our method of attack. So I understand where he's coming from, whatever the case may be, but boycotting the NFL. I mean, remember when the rumor came out that the owner of Snapple and the people who make toilet tissue and the owner of Walmart and Chick-fil-A, like if we were to boycott everything that's quote unquote anti-black or doesn't represent us, that means we don't stop listening to music, stop watching sports, boycott Hollywood. I mean, there are more effective ways to affect change as opposed to just going cold turkey. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree to a certain extent.
Okay, to a certain extent. I'm listening.
Now, with Kaepernick in particular, that is his way. That's legit almost his only way.
Mm-hmm.
You have to think about it. He is an image. He's an icon to kids who love the 49ers or just love football in general. So you have to kind of look at it as he's using this platform of the NFL to really get a point across, and people are vilifying this man for it. And I don't think that they should. I think that at the end of the day, he has a freedom of speech just like all of us do. You know, he's choosing to utilize the platform of the NFL to do it. I don't think he's wrong for it. I love that it's on blast. I love that it's in everyone's mouth on at ESPN. I love that that this is the conversation, because we need more iconic figures that are in our communities, that are of our communities.
You use the keyword iconic because I was watching TV and they were trying to, well, not trying to, they essentially made the comparison that Colin Kaepernick is like the modern day Muhammad Ali. Now, look, I'll be the first to admit, 24 years old, so not really well versed. I wasn't around when Muhammad was like influential.
Right.
Obviously, you can go research things, but it still doesn't put things in its proper context, which is what I'm all about. I think that's a bit too far. I'm sorry.
No, don't get me wrong. You know, to hear him compared to Muhammad Ali is like, whoa.
It's like, whoa.
Right.
Like,
but
not even on the same level in terms of like athletic stature.
No, not even.
Like,
not even. Like Kaepernick has years to put in for that. He has, you know, rings to get and all of that to be considered, you know, on that level. But I understand the comparison to the point of being an activist and being a national, international athlete.
Okay.
Right. So at the, you know, back in the 60s when we were fighting for civil rights, which we still are.
Yes.
You know, back in the day when we were fighting for civil rights in the 60s, Muhammad Ali, God rest his soul, was a complete avenue and advocate of change. And I absolutely understand that comparison. I wouldn't make that comparison, but I understand it.
I wouldn't either. That's the thing that, here's the reality with Kaepernick. From the moment he broke into the league, dude was straight, like he was too authentic for a certain segment of people who consume the NFL. He had the tats. He was athletic. He was young. Got a lot of girls. Flashy, you know, cars, Instagram, a lot of followers. Then he started wearing his own headphones, which went against like NFL sponsorship. Then he started rocking the braids, and now he's got the full blown Black Panther, like Huey Newton fro. And then once he kneeled, the kneeling was the icing on the cake. It's like he was gradually wearing at people's nerves because of who he was and what he represented and how he looked and how he carried himself. The kneel was the icing on the cake. That was when essentially, I'm not gonna say white America, because there's some people who are in the military or who like genuinely think that this country's for us, even though they're misinformed. It's never been for us. That were like upset with him. You know what I mean?
I just think, and I'll close out on the Kaepernick topic after this. I just think that at the end of the day, he absolutely has a right to do and say whatever he feels. I feel like we are all different and newer and improved, hopefully, versions of ourselves. So no one is supposed to stay the same. Everyone is supposed to evolve. And so maybe this evolution in the next few years, he will stop football. Maybe he will just simply be an activist for the community.
And that
very well might be his choice, you know, and we can't vilify him for his choice of what he feels his call is. You know, at the end of the day, yes, he, you know, has responsibilities. When you sign that NFL contract, you have responsibilities that go along with that same, you know, with endorsements, yes. But at the end of the day, when something is calling you, you know, you can't necessarily just stop all action toward that just because people think it's wrong or people, you know.
You hit on something that I wanted to touch on too, because people question his authenticity. Colin Kaepernick's been in the league for about 5 years, and he's enjoyed success early in his career. Went to a Super Bowl even though he wasn't victorious. And people were saying, well, why weren't you kneeling those other years? You know what I mean? And I'm just like,
well, things. Do they not pay attention to current events?
Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's not like we've like progressed as a society. Like, if you, I mean, people feared that you know, Trump being in office would like roll back the clocks of time and like we'd go back to like pre-civil rights. Folks, we've been living in that regardless of who's in the White House or at 600 Pennsylvania Avenue. With Colin Kaepernick, even though he didn't like kneel those other 5 years, like Danielle, my guest, said, people can have a change of heart. He had the mind where it's just like, okay, I'm looking around the country, which we're also going to get into. I'm looking at what's going on, and I don't like it. The fact that you're mad, the fact that you're mad at him for kneeling over simply a song which has racist origin and roots in itself, it really like touches at the crux of what's wrong. So we're going to shift gears to the BET Awards. This is the Let's Address This segment where we have to address three things.
Love the BET Awards. Let me tell you, they were so much better than last year's.
This is the Let's Address This segment where we have to switch gears and address the BET Awards. Now, for those of you who don't know, BET Awards was held in Los Angeles or whatever the case may be. Number one on the Let's Address This segment, we're going to talk about Remy Ma beating out Nicki Minaj for Best Female Hip-Hop Artist. Number two, we're going to talk about the Meek Mill and Safari scuffle. I don't even know if you can call it a scuffle. But we're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about the Migos and Chris Brown / Migos like Joe Budden. Not sure which one happened. So, Kalia, you are like my entertainment like guru and specialist, and y'all, I'm going to get you to chime in too. Did you have a problem with Remy Ma beating out Nicki Minaj for Best Female Hip-Hop Artist?
I didn't understand it, in all honesty, but nonetheless, like, when was the last album that Nicki Minaj had that was worth a nomination? What were they gonna do it based off features?
Remy doesn't have an album out.
No, she had that joint album with Fat Joe.
But she got
that's what that's what they were gonna count. They count.
She won the best hip hop part.
Yeah, for female.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But she got the juice.
Remy's more Nicki's more pop to me right now. She's in the pop market. I can't fully say she's I guess I can agree with that.
They did it based off an album, and they also did it as a mark. BET knows what they're doing. Let me tell you, Deborah Lee knows what she's doing when she does what she does. So she did it on purpose, you know, just to stir the pot to see what's gonna happen, and then BET could do a special about it.
But so basically, she got it because of Sheether that Papoose wrote. Moving right along through the show, once again, Danielle Jones, owner, founder, editor-in-chief of Mouth Mag, is here with me in the building. Talia Phelps is here with me. We was having a discussion during the commercial break. We got about 20-something minutes left, so we're going to rock out with y'all until then. So Daniel, I was reading something earlier in preparation for the show, and I saw where the state of New Jersey is implementing a program. I find this fascinating, given all the contentious relationship that our community is having with law enforcement. You know, all of the verdicts or all of the unfavorable verdicts. You know, you see the killings happening. You see police videos. I think there's a Facebook video. There's a Facebook page called Police to Police where it just strictly highlights negative interactions with police in the community. So the state of New Jersey is implementing a program in some of their schools where they're going to make a part of like their curriculum or a part of their activities how to interact with the police. They're going to teach kids and essentially indoctrinate them on how to be compliant, how to take orders, and I'm just like, I don't think that's a part of the issue, but it's not the whole issue. It's making it seem like the people that are victims of police brutality are the culprits. And we know that's not always the case. Certainly there are incidences where if you look at it on a case-by-case basis, you have people who are agitators or people who have had run-ins with the law. The guy up in Bmore, Freddie Gray, I've heard that wasn't their first interaction with him. Not condoning it,
Right.
but just saying this notion that everyone who falls in the streets at the hands of police, that they're saints, is just not true. Like, I'm not condoning anyone's life being taken, but we can't paint everyone out to be a choir boy because that's certainly not the case.
No,
Yeah.
I totally agree. New Jersey.
New Jersey.
With the implementation of like, I don't know if it's a course or however they kind of rolling it out to essentially teach the babies how to interact with police, I think it's interesting. There needs to be adjustments to that. I think that at the end of the day, it's an even exchange.
Right.
Yes, children and young adults and people should know that law enforcement is law enforcement, and at the end of the day, you know, that's law enforcement.
Right.
So if you break the law, you go to jail. Boom. Kids definitely need to know that. However, I feel like police officers need to embrace the communities in which they operate in and which they work in. A lot of times you'll have police officers who do live nowhere near the communities in which they go and work in.
Right.
And so it's one of those things where you have to really understand where you are, who you're dealing with on a regular basis. And so I think that should be an even exchange. However that can be implemented. You can't just, like you said, it's essentially...
The article made it seem like it was one-sided. And
Yeah,
it literally said
it is
that
one-sided.
from grades, I think K to 3, they would kind of like give a watered down, since, you know, little kids, they're not really fully functioning, like, but grades 5 through 12, they would ramp up the level of content and information they would disseminate in terms of the messaging.
Is that supposed to like put fear? To me,
Like,
that's
what does
like
that mean?
instilling
What does it
fear
do?
that you need to act a certain way with the police. Like you need to walk on eggshells when you're around them. Like
Right.
they're so much better than you. When in fact we all went to school at the same time. They just decided a different path.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's the fundamental problem I see with society is just a lack of understanding. So if you don't grow up in a certain area or an environment, or you're not used to interacting with a certain group of people, you don't understand them.
Yeah.
For instance, I don't like country music. I don't like rock. I don't like pop. I don't like country rock, Metallica, stuff like that. I didn't grow up on it. So that's why I'd be turned off if it came on the station. That doesn't mean that it's not good.
Yeah.
It's just not my quote-unquote cup of tea.
Right.
But I'm also not going to, judge people who choose to indulge in it, because I have my own like vices that I like to indulge in. And I think even
Do tell.
even regardless of, I always tell people, you have to have respect for authority. Whether it's parents, law enforcement, professors, deans, bosses, CEOs. But that starts with having respect for yourself. If you don't have respect for yourself, there's no way you can have respect for anyone else. So I always tell people, a lot of these people don't have respect for their own parents or themselves. So you get a teacher in front of them, a police officer, a judge, and they're just like, well, I've been disrespectful all my life. So I don't care if you got a badge. I don't care if you got a gavel. I don't care if you got a syllabus. I'm going to do what I want. And that's the wrong type of mentality to have. Now again, on the flip side, those individuals, whether you're judge, police, professors, interacting with people who are like that, you have to still show them the respect that they deserve just on a human level. You understand? I understand everyone's not perfect, but the fact that, and I always, it's weird because it's always black males. Like, you never hear about black females, Hispanic males. It's literally always black males who are getting gunned down in the streets, or who are the target of a video that goes viral in which you see things that it just rubs you the wrong way. And it's really sad because people will say, well, what can we do as a country? And I honestly don't know. I mean, do you guys feel like as a country we're becoming like closer together, or we're becoming more like further apart? I know people, and you know, you're pretty critical of the person in the White House currently. I'm of the mindset I'm of the mindset where I've never pledged my allegiance to any party. And there's this notion that if you're black or minority, you have to be a Democrat.
Not technically, because there's a lot of black people that are Republican in the sense of it's always been in their family.
Or they're perceived to have money.
Perceived to have money, but I'm just going like, I have family members that are Republican, that are black, that live in Georgia. But it's because it has ran in the family line.
Georgia's a red state.
Yeah, it's a red state, and because of Abe Lincoln being a Republican, freeing slaves.
Right.
So it's like that notion, like, well, maybe they do have our best interests at heart, and they kind of keep going with it. Now, and then there was another good Republican president. Which one was it? Was it Reagan? No, it wasn't Reagan.
No, it was.
It was another one.
But black people actually started out like backing the Republican Party.
Of
like,
course.
Yeah.
It was a transition, I think, around like the New Deal with FDR. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not a political expert. Like,
yeah, it was like around a certain time.
Expert. That was when a shift happened, and ever since about the 80s, for the most part, we've like unequivocally pledged our allegiance to like the black party. To the Democratic Party. So, you know, you hear stuff like Bill Clinton's the first black president, which is ridiculous. I mean. No, seriously, there's stuff like that. Like, you just can't perpetuate stuff like that. Like, I mean, what qualified or classified him to get like such an esteemed title, whether joking or serious?
I don't know what did he do?
No, you know what he did.
No. But is that how he got the title?
Yeah.
Is that how he got it?
That was a portion of it, but it was the perception that he was.
It was
relatable.
cultural.
It's right. Yeah.
It was,
You know what I mean?
cultural.
Like if we're doing caricatures, if you're typically Republican, then there's this perception, not saying that it's true, that you're old, rich, and white.
Yeah.
And if you're a Democrat or a supporter of Democrats, this is a perception that you're minority, poor middle class, and black, Spanish, like especially Spanish people, whatever the case may be. And if a black person were to say, like, you know, I'm a Republican or I'm thinking about voting Republican, they would face immense criticism from those on the left side of the spectrum. And that's why I argue that's the fundamental problem in politics and in the country today. There's no balance. People are too left and people are too right.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And I wanted to touch base on one thing. There was a press conference today about healthcare.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, and that's a whole nother thing that can marginalize and separate us as a nation. But I think that, so pretty much the Kentucky Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell,
Yes.
CNN reported him saying, and I quote, "We will not be on the bill this week." Pretty much, we were supposed to have a decision as far as this whole healthcare bill goes, and is it in Trump care, is what it's being called. Is it being implemented or not? And so we're still kind of waiting standing by waiting, so we won't get it this this week, evidently. The interesting thing about it is, at the end of the day, keeping this bill going just potentially, it's one of those things where culturally we're gonna not necessarily forget about it, but it's one of those things where it won't be so much on our radar to the point where now, oh, it's July or it's August, and this bill has been slipped through for healthcare, and you're essentially taking away, for instance, with the proposal that is in right now, over 5 million seniors ages 50 to 64 stand to lose their healthcare insurance by 2026, which is insane to me. 5 million, over 5 million people.
So like our aunts, uncles.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's one of those things where it's like you just can't go through, you know, and the whole thing is interesting. We're still waiting, so it's a hurry up and wait from the White House right now.
Leah, I'm gonna put you on the spot real quick. Let's play a word association. So basically, a word association.
Oh my goodness,
game.
I love this game.
So you know how it goes. When I say something, you got to say one word that goes with it, right? So let's start off with LeBron James. What would you say if I say LeBron James? One word.
I'm so sick of talking about him.
That was like 4 words.
Okay, annoying.
Okay, you're disrespectful, but
Okay.
I'll let you get away with that. Barack Obama.
Cute.
Michael Jordan.
Legendary.
Migos.
I'm thinking of an ad lib.
I know because they have good ad libs. But Migos.
That's exactly what I
Ad
thought.
lib? Okay. Social media.
Fun.
Okay. So as I was playing the word game, I was playing it with myself earlier. I'm just like, social media is fun, and oftentimes I see people say, I hate social media. And I'm like, do you really hate the network, or do you hate the people on the network? Because if you take everyone off the network, social media is harmless. There's nothing to it. It's literally just an interface. It's a website. Websites don't harm people. The same thing with a gun. A gun is harmless until it gets in the hands of someone. You understand what I'm saying? So social media, my word association for social media would be fake outrage. I know that's 2 words, but
There was 2 words.
I have to put it out there. Every time I'm on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, I see a lot of what I call fake outrage. How's everybody doing? My name is Marcus Lamar. It's Tuesday, so you know what that means. 8 o'clock p.m. every Tuesday, 8 to 10. The Marc Morris radio show is coming to you. We got a lot to get into tonight. Serena Williams, Bill Cosby, sports, the BET Awards, the NBA Awards. Who deserves MVP? You're going to find out all of this tonight and more. Got a special guest, the owner and exclusive founder and chief, Danielle Jones. Appreciate her coming through. Check it out, Marc Morris Radio, coming at you right now.